Hey bunch of friends, it's Steph with Stefsonabudget. Welcome back for another video. We are going to go ahead and set up my January budget and then go ahead and budget our most recent paycheck on December 26th. So we're going to do a couple of things together here today, starting with our calendar. So my paycheck for December 26th will go into January. So I need to get this set up, and then I'm probably going to quickly turn around and set up February as well. I went ahead and decorated this one already. I absolutely love it. I went with a Hercules theme, and so then now all we have to do is fill in all of our bills and whatnot that we need to pay, and then we will set up the budget. So I do use the highlighter method from the Budget Mom. So we're going to go ahead and write in all of our expenses on the day they coordinate for when they're due, and then we'll highlight per paycheck what needs to get paid. You guys, my husband bought me a DJI mic for Christmas, so I'm trying it out. I'm hoping it sounds okay. I'm really nervous because I am generally not like a fan of how the mics sound on videos, but I'm hoping this will work out. I did a couple of tests and it seemed to work okay. So just let me know if it sounds terrible and I need to ditch it, because I'm sure he can find use for it if this isn't it, right? All right, let's go ahead and jump in. So I do use the Budget Mom highlighter method, like I said, so that is what we're going to use. I'm going to go ahead and start here with the first. I am peeking at my December setup just as a little cheat sheet off the screen, so that'll help me kind of fill this in with you guys. I've got my paydays marked for January. It's going to be the 9th and the 23rd. So like I said, this current paycheck comes into January, so a little behind at getting this going. All right, the first and second have nothing. I have an internet change, so I have a few bill changes, I guess is what I should say. So this is going to look different. We're not going to have our old internet on the 3rd. This is just going to be our Amazon. And we have a credit card that is also paid off. Okay, but the account is still open, so it goes on my tracker. I'm just going to work on this page and then switch over. Also, I need to put in my mortgage payments. So I always split my mortgage into 2. So that means each paycheck I take half and then put it together to pay the next month. So I'm going to save like half a mortgage here in January to make my February payment. So hopefully that makes sense. Nothing on the 7th. I have our gas bill on the 8th, and that came in this month at, let me see if I have it written down somewhere. Okay, oops. That's going to be 104.33. I like to write in the utilities because those amounts vary for me. So if once I get those bills, I put in that number so it'll make the budget process a little bit easier. Okay. On the 9th, let's see. I'm going to write it in, but I'm not going to have a payment for my husband's mobile Starlink because we have it turned off right now. Okay, on the 10th, I'm going to have a few changes here. This is going to be our new internet due date. So we switched from CenturyLink to Starlink, and so that's our new internet server. And that's going to be on the 10th now. I also have my electric bill on the 10th. And for this month, it's going to be $212.66. Okay. And then I also have that personal loan debt snowball, you guys, from 2 years ago now. That's crazy. I'm going to leave that in the budget because we're still on that debt-free journey. Okay, then we're going to jump down here to the 14th. And on the 14th, we have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, as well as another debt snowball. Okay, 15th is our car insurance. Super excited, that is coming down. in January, so that is awesome. Okay, I keep clicking my pen closed. All right, then we also have Apple Music. The 16th, we have an Xbox subscription. Okay, we have a credit card on the 17th, but that is paid off, so there's no balance due, but the account is still open, so I leave it in my spread just to make sure. Okay, and then I've got my car payment on the 21st. We've got another debt snowball on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd, I have that half of the mortgage because that's going to be the next payday. And then we have another Kindle Unlimited subscription. Then we're all the way down here on the 28th. That's going to be cell phones. And then nothing on the 29th. And then for the 31st, we've got our Apple accounts. Okay, one we're working on and one is paid off. Let's go ahead and switch on over to the other side. And nothing on the 4th. The 5th has quite a bit. We've got our truck payment. We've got a Paramount subscription. I keep checking in with my husband to see if he's still watching these, you guys. Okay, and then we also have a couple of more paid off credit cards, but the accounts are still open, so we're going to put them in there. Okay, we've got our water bill on the 11th. I haven't received that one yet, so we'll write in that amount once it comes in. Okay, we've got a trailer payment on the 13th, nothing on the 18th. Oh, okay, this pen is too loose. I keep twisting it. The 19th, we've got Netflix. Okay. Couple of debt snowballs here on the 20th. And then on the 25th, we've got iCloud subscription. Okay, the 26th, we've got Disney Plus. And on the 27th, we've got an oven debt snowball. All right, I think that is all of the bills there, you guys. So I was looking at my Apple account today, and I think it's going to be cheaper if I bundle a lot of these Apple type subscriptions together. My only hesitation to that is, I don't know how, like if I wanted to cancel, say, Apple TV or something like that, I don't know how that would impact that very much, but I don't know, just some food for thought as I'm reevaluating my budget for 2026. Okay, so our December 26th paycheck is this green color carried over from December. So that means I'm going to highlight the things we need to pay with this paycheck here in green, okay? Right, and then for our next one, let's go ahead and let's do blue for our January 9th paycheck. And then I'm going to highlight everything I need to pay on the 9th in this blue color. But let me grab my calculator out, you guys, because I like to just double check that everything is going to work out. Sometimes I might need to pay things earlier with a different paycheck to make things a little bit more balanced. I don't like to have bills really heavy one payday and then really light the next. Let me just make sure you guys can see everything. Okay, so like I said, this is on hold. So then we're going to jump to my new internet. We've got our electric bill. I'm going to hold on the debt snowballs for now. I'm going to guess $120 for my water bill. You know, it's not an exact science, you guys. I think my new insurance is going to be $515. Okay, so I think I need to pay something early with this paycheck, and I feel like oh, that's right. I'm gonna go ahead and pay my electric bill with my paycheck now instead of waiting for the 9th, just to balance that a little bit. So I can take that $213 away, and that's gonna be much better. So the rest of this, we're gonna go ahead and highlight in blue. I'm going to skip that Starlink since it's not going to be due. Okay, we are going to cover that debt snowball. And we are going to cover that debt snowball. The ones I didn't highlight, you guys, are either accounts that are open but don't have a balance. So there's some credit cards. So I don't have a payment due, so I'm not highlighting it. But like I said, because it's an open account, I like to leave it on my spread. And then I have like some debt snowballs that I just work in when I can. So I think I've highlighted what I can for now. And then just to be, just because we need to, let's go ahead and kind of look ahead for the 23rd and make sure things are looking okay there. Okay, that looks good. We are on track, friends. All right, let's go ahead and highlight these things in pink for the paycheck of the 23rd. Okay, perfect. All right, this is ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and pop this into our budget binder. So let me grab that out. All right, here we are. I've got my new payday calendar from my work. So I like to print that out every year so I have it. It's really easy to see when my paychecks are. So looking at January, we are all set with our monthly spread. Oh, let me highlight my little key over here in the pink. Then I also like to over here write in what I'm working on for savings goal and debt goal for the month. So I'll put some more thought into that here and get those filled in. And now we're ready to flip on over to our paycheck budget tracker. I do use the Budget Mom printable workbook. So that's the sheet I have printed out here. And friends, I actually think I'm going to try something different. So I have really gotten way off track with tracking my expenses. I have been tracking like my variable expenses, so my cash envelopes pretty good because I've been using my credit card and I need to be sure to track that so I can pay back the right amount so it gets paid off every 2 weeks. So I've been doing fine on that, but the rest of my expenses I've been pretty poor at tracking. And then I also want to get back into kind of doing a monthly recap of my spending. More so because I just want to see what our spending looks like. I for sure know we have been way overspending as far as like takeout and things like that go. And it's hard to make adjustments in the budget if I don't know what's happening. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a weekly budget this year instead of a bi-weekly, just to help me get back into tracking a little bit more, and then also kind of being able to look at my overall monthly expenses. Again, I used to do that when I first started budgeting like this in 2020, and I've really haven't done it in probably a couple of years. So we're just going to play it by ear and see how this goes. I mean, I never know exactly how this is going to work out. So, we don't know until we try, right? And it's not like if it doesn't work, we can't go back to what we know for sure does work, right? All right, let's go ahead and fill out this budget together and take a look at where our income is going to go. Okay, so really quick, I've flipped us back to December because this is the paycheck we're going to budget. And if I'm only going to budget weekly, I need to actually look at this week versus January, right? The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to budget the Friday to the Thursday. So this will be 1 week, and then when we get into January, it's going to be this Friday to this Thursday, right? Which covers all of the things in green. So I'm still going to highlight on a bi-weekly basis, again, just in case this doesn't work out. So really, I'm going to be looking to budget these things in green for this week here. So the 26th through, actually, it would be the 1st of January, right? Okay, so let's get back to, sorry guys, I'm going to be kind of, this is new, right? So I'm going to be kind of a little bit lost if I'm being honest. All right, let's take a look here at what we need to budget. So this is going to be December 26th through January 1st. Okay, and so for our income, I'm just going to put income up here. We are going to budget $4,677. And I'm going to go ahead and write that first week of fixed expenses on here. So that's going to be our half mortgage. Oops. On the 26th, and that's going to be $1,143. All right, I'm going to just flip this, make this a little bit easier for myself. All right, so we're not going to have too much for our fixed expenses since we're breaking it up into a week's time. We also have our Disney Plus. That's going to be on the 26th, and that is $22. We've got a debt snowball. So we paid off some ovens back in 2024, and that is a debt snowball of $125 that we're going to put towards our current debt. And then I have our cell phones. This is going to feel really strange initially, you guys, kind of doing this weekly budget. And that's going to come in at $331. And that is actually going to be it for the week. So, like I said, it feels really strange because normally I fill this whole thing up. All right, so let's see what that gives us here under the fixed expenses. All right, so that's going to be $1,621 for fixed expenses. We're going to take that from the $4,677. That's going to leave us with $3,056. So we're going to go ahead and bring that right on down here to our variable expenses. Now, this is where things are going to look maybe a little bit different than what you're used to in other folks who maybe budget this way. I do not want to break up my variable expenses into weekly. I just feel like that's going to be messy. So for example, I usually budget $340 every 2 weeks for groceries. I don't want to like tell myself, okay, so if I have $340, then I get $170 or $170 per paycheck or per week, right? I'd rather just have my envelopes stuffed right away for the 2 weeks. So I am going to budget my full 2-week amount here. And when we do the next week budget, we won't be stuffing the variable expenses. So let's see what this is going to look like. All right, that one's driving me crazy, guys. I'm going to switch it out. I'm going to fill the rest of these envelopes in and we'll get going. Okay, I've got my categories. So we budget $340 for groceries, $200 for Costco, $150 for gas, $40 for miscellaneous, $60 for house and beauty, $50 into pets, $42 into water, and this is for drinking water, you guys, not like our home water. We're going to budget our $360 for spending and $100 for takeout. This should add up to $1342. Let's just double check it. Okay, and it does. So $1342. We're going to go ahead and take that from the $3,056 that's left over, That's going to leave us with 1714, so 1,714. I'm going to bring that up here to our sinking funds, which is the area that I just put our like savings challenge binders in, right? So we're going to kind of work on some of the same things. That this doesn't change much for us, right? We still have kind of those same expenses and pretty similar savings goals. Okay, guys, so for this week, I'm just thinking of like the videos I'll do in the order in which I save. So we're going to go ahead and budget for our Christmas. You guys, we got to start saving for 2026. I save every paycheck to get me ready for that holiday because it is such a huge expense for our family. So we're going to put $100 towards 2026 Christmas savings. And then we're also going to go ahead and work on our debt binder, and we're going to put $250 into that binder. And that's going to be it for the savings for this week. So that means we are going to go ahead and actually, let me look. So if we did Thursday through January 1st, let me double check to make sure I'm doing that right, you guys. Okay, friends, I think I've got it right. So that's going to be $350 that we're going to put towards our envelope. So we're going to take 1714 minus the $350. That's going to leave us $1,364. And then we're going to go ahead and bring that down to the leftover or extra savings. And we are going to mark this for rollover, $1,364. All of that money, and that's going to take us into the next week, which is going to cover January 1st through the 8th. Or I'm sorry, it's going to cover January 2nd through January 8th. So we'll pay these bills here and then finish up our savings for that following week. Okay, you guys, like I said, I'm not sure how this is exactly going to work out, but I want to give it a try. I think it's going to help me better with my tracking. One thing I am going to do, though, is I am going to go ahead and set up the next paycheck. So I'm going to set up both weeks at the same time. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm only getting one income and I need to make sure it still covers the 2 weeks. I'm just breaking it up into a separate budget weekly to help me track better, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and actually flip on over to our next one here. And let me just go ahead and pull this out. Okay. Just bear with me, guys. I just want to give this a try. I know this feels a little chaotic, but it's going to get better, I think. Okay, so this one's going to cover us January 2nd through January 8th, because then we get paid again on the 9th. Okay, so for income, we are going to have our $1,364 from our rollover. So we're going to put that on there. Okay, so we're going to put that as rollover. And then I am going to need to bring in some money from Stefsonabudget. I'm just going to put it as Stefsonabudget because I'm going to put this, I'm going to take what I would pay myself from the month of December from my Stefsonabudget stuff, and I'm going to put it towards our savings. So that's going to be $300. And the reason I'm doing that is just because our income with the holidays and PTO and stuff was a little bit short for this paycheck. So I would have had to cover that anyways. So that's going to bring us to $1,664 to budget with. Okay. So for our fixed expenses, what do we have left? So now we're into January. So let's go ahead and flip to that. We're going to take the rest of these things that are highlighted in the green, minus Amazon. I accidentally highlighted that, y'all. Okay, so we've got our truck payment on the 5th. That's $10.13. And then we have Paramount also on the 5th. And that one comes out automatically, so I'm going to put a little A there. And that one's going to be $14. And then we have our gas bill, so we really don't have much here, you guys. And that is on the 8th, and that is going to be $105. And then we're going to go ahead and pay our electric bill a little bit early just to balance these paychecks a little bit. And that's going to be $213. So obviously it's a little bit short. I could have not brought in the rollover, but I don't want to, I just don't want to take a chance and see if our income is, higher on the 9th. My husband's taking a lot less call at work, so we're going to see some fluctuations there. And I'd rather just get things covered versus like hoping, if that makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and add these expenses up for this week. Okay, there we are. So for fixed expenses, we're going to be at $13.45. Okay, and we're going to take that from our $16.64. That's going to leave us $319. Now for variable expenses, we are not going to have anything because like I said, I'm going to cover all 2 weeks with the first one. So we're just going to mark that out. And then the $319 is going to pop over here to our savings. And we're going to need to do all of the things we didn't do last time. So our month ahead, our emergency fund, and we have our savings challenges. All right, so we're going to put our $33 into our month ahead, our $64 into our emergency fund. Let me do this. And then we're going to have $222 to put towards savings challenges. So that is going to bring us to a zero base budget for those 2 weeks, you guys. So we have given every dollar we expect to come in for this paycheck a job. It has a place to go and something to do, even if it's just to kind of sit there and save itself. But that's how I do it. So now I've got my biweekly budget essentially set up. I just have it broken out into individual weeks. I know that my full income here is going to cover the 2 weeks okay. And I can go ahead and start paying my bills. But I'm hoping like this will motivate me to just look at things a week at a time. And then I will also plan to, since I want to be on a weekly tracking basis again, just, to get back in the habit of that, what I will plan to do is actually unstuff like any of my expenses from my variable expenses and pay back my credit card weekly instead of waiting for 2 weeks to occur. So that is my plan. I'm still essentially setting this up the same way, you guys. We're all ready for January. It just looks a little bit different. I've just split it out into individual weeks. So I don't know. We're just going to take it day by day and see how it goes. And if we don't like it, when we budget on the 9th, we can go right back to our usual, right? Okay, friends, this probably turned out to be so long because I had to like walk through a whole new process myself. But I'm going to say thank you for joining me for another video. If you like this one, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button to stick around, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.